Hello, Rhode Island property owners. Richard Barr coming to you with Lead Safe Inspections, rounding out our 4-part video series in preparing your property for your upcoming lead hazard mitigation inspection. The topic we're going to tackle today is to round out the whole video series, the exterior inspection. Now, slightly different from what you've heard, and if you've watched other parts of this video series where we talked about the both damaged paint and friction surfaces, what we're mostly going to be concerned about when it comes to an exterior inspection is strictly damaged paint. As a couple of examples, what we'll be looking at is things such as the type of siding that your house has, what kind of window construction that it has, any of the trim work that it has, whether it's from windows or up above the top of the trim or any lower trim, the foundation, the basement windows, and any outbuildings or accessory structures. As an example, this property that I'm standing in front of is in the process of preparing for its upcoming lead hazard mitigation inspection. Take into consideration a couple of these before photos.
So here we see multiple types of components, including door casings, window casings, soffits, which are roof overhangs, etc., that are going to need to be addressed and remediated to be considered in compliance.
Coming back to the present state of the property, if you'll observe here, they made the option of taking their existing trim on their windows and covering it in what's called aluminum flashing. This is taking a permanent encapsulation route, where instead of either just touching up the wooden paint that was here previous, they opt to wrap it in what the state considers to be a permanent encapsulant, in this case, a aluminum seal, and thus making it treated as if it's not painted. You have similar options to this, not just from window trim, but also any kind of door trim or in your siding. In the example of this property, they elected to keep the existing asbestos shingling, which as long as it has intact paint, it's okay. Similar to if you have any kind of a wood component that's used as a siding, whether it's wood shingling, wood clapboard, etc. In that case, you would only have to make the paint all intact. However, if you had something where you had a considerable amount of damage throughout all 4 sides of the property, you may opt to wrap it in aluminum siding or vinyl siding, which, similar to the metal siding on the windows, will be considered like a permanent encapsulant. And really all depends on what your goals end up being, because one, you're going to have to keep upkeeping every couple of years with the brutal New England winters and changing seasons. The other, such as the aluminum or vinyl, will cover it up and could be considered permanent. If you elect to keep your existing wood siding, shingling, trim, etc., all that needs to be done is that it needs to be wet scraped and painted, making sure that there is no damaged surfaces whatsoever left. Just take special care to make sure that any paint chips that are generated by the person you're having doing the work are cleaned up properly through vacuuming them up. So next, let's talk about outbuildings. This could include anything, whether it's a garage, a shed, outhouse, greenhouse, any other accessory structure that is detached from the house but still present on the regulated property. When it comes to these types of buildings, they're not treated the same as the primary structure, such as the unit people are living in, because it's not really living space. It's just any kind of a storage space or any kind of a workspace, something that people aren't regularly spending a lot of time in. With that in mind, instead of looking at both the interior of the building and the exterior of it, we're just going to be focused on the exterior. And this includes the construction of different types of windows. So in the examples in previous videos, we've talked about wood windows being an issue in terms of being a visual hazard. When it comes to outbuildings, such as sheds, garages, etc., we only are concerned about the exterior paint. So even if you have a wood window present on a garage, as long as all the components on it have intact paint, you are okay.
The next piece to talk about is enclosed porches, such as the one that I'm standing in here. This is considered an accessory structure similar to a shed or a garage. However, it is assessed to similar guidelines as to the primary structure itself. What this means, we're going to treat it almost like an interior room on the inside of the house, where we're going to be looking at the painted surfaces within. Window construction is still going to be a factor, such as if you have wood windows here, and making sure all the paint on any trim work is intact. An honorable mention in this section is to take in consideration any decks, whether it's just a walkout deck from behind or anything with any kind of enclosure. It's kept up to similar standards where it's going to just be all intact paint no matter where it is. And this is true even if it's a relatively newer deck. Post 78 doesn't matter. Only a little bit of damaged paint doesn't matter. You know it's not lead, it doesn't matter. Strictly with this guideline, it's a visual based standard. So as such, all paint on decks needs to be intact.
So to quickly recap, when preparing your exterior of your property for inspection, what we're going to be looking for is the overarching condition of all of the components on the exterior. We'll be applying this standard to the primary structure itself, which is the house that the unit is actually housed in addition to any accessory structures and outbuildings. Any paint on any component that is damaged just needs to be wet scraped and touched up. You don't necessarily have to do the whole thing. If you now feel your property is ready for inspection, follow the link below to our website and fill out our inspection request form today, and we will get back to you as soon as possible to schedule you for inspection. We are looking forward to being your partner in getting your property into compliance and aiding you in getting the lead out.